You started a molecular diagnostics lab business back during COVID, right? Do you want to talk about that? Hi everyone and welcome back. Today's guest is not just a fellow scientist, he's also a great friend and former colleague from my time in academia, whose journey I have genuinely admired over the years. I've known Rob since 2019 when he interviewed with us at UC San Diego. I still remember that interview because he had a very calm, sincere, and genuine presence about him. At one point, someone in the interview asked him, Rob, what do you do in your free time? His answer was something like, my wife and I had been watching Friends for a while. The whole room smiled. It was such a simple answer, but it felt so authentic. No attempt to impress anyone, just himself, right? Since then, I have watched his journey from Mexico to the US, where he worked hard to improve his English, completed his master's degree, built a successful career in biotech, and eventually helped launch his own biotech startup. Today, we are going to be talking about his immigrant journey, the business lessons scientists rarely learn, and how to create opportunities instead of waiting for them. So, let's dive in.
Yeah, I'm Roberto Cano. I'm from Mexico. I work in biotech, specialize in cell and gene therapy. Yeah, I remember when I first came to the US, it was a whole journey. It started back when I finished my undergrad. I started planning about, I always wanted to do my master in the US. And I started one of the barriers, of course, was the language. I had to get more proficient at English. I knew English at that time, but I had to become more proficient. So at that time, I finished undergrad. I had a job in a pharmaceutical company in Mexico, but I knew that I wanted to come to the U.S. So I had to make some changes. So at that time, I quit my job in that pharmaceutical company, and I started a job in a call center, taking calls for a retail company in the U.S. Calls.
And this was back in Mexico.
This was back in Mexico. I took that job in the call center so I could practice my English more and just get ready for my next step, which was to take my master in the U.S. And a funny story though is that in California, almost everyone speaks Spanish, so it was so hard to actually practice it because when they saw me struggling with some part of the English, they would immediately switch to Spanish because it turns out that they wanted to practice Spanish, you know.
I mean, I started learning Spanish when I came to California. So.
Right, exactly.
How did you decide your master's program?
So at that time, I knew I wanted something science-based. I was really into stem cells, gene therapy. At that time, those kind of concepts were fairly new, and I knew the U.S. was leading on all these technologies. So I wanted to get something related to that. But at the same time, since I finished undergrad, I wanted to learn or experience also the business side of science. Not just making science for the sake of learning or discovering new things, but actually making an impact, producing some science that will actually go commercial and change people's lives. So then I started to look for a master degree that had both things, that will combine science and also business. And I found that in the master that I took at CSU USM, Masters in Biotechnology. And I just love it because first year it was purely science. We took all the basics on science, how to do proper research, all those things. But the second year was mainly entrepreneurship. I remember having a lot of classes where the professor would invite CEOs from different companies just to give us their perspective about where things are going in the future, and also sharing their experience as entrepreneurship, how hard it is to being an entrepreneur in basically any field, but I would say even more in biotech. And also with my girlfriend, she was already planning to come, and well, then we decided we wanted to keep building a life together. and we decided to get married. And that was actually a fun story also, because we wanted to do something like spontaneous and fun. So we ended up taking a trip to Las Vegas, and we got one of those packages where Elvis Presley, it's like he will marry you in the Whitechapel.
Oh, you guys did that.
We did that, so it was really fun. It was super fun. Like so the whole package, they take you in a limousine. They go and pick you from your hotel. Then they take you to the government office where you sign your marriage certificate.
What?
Then you have the Elvis Presley guy like
Marrying
you and everything. So it was really fun.
So you guys did the Ross and Rachel wedding.
Ross and Rachel wedding,
Nice,
kind of.
nice.
We weren't drunk. This was intentional.
Love it.
Like we rent out a bedroom from my friend's house.
Yeah.
And we had like a mattress in the floor, and I would say like it was like very humble beginnings.
Yeah.
Also very excited, like when you arrive to the US, you are so excited about all the opportunities.
And you don't really like think of them as struggles, right? You think of them as like something adventurous, something exciting that's going on. You are like starting a new life. I think it was the same thing for me. Like when I came to the US, I think the first 4 years I didn't have a bed to sleep on. Like it was basically a mattress that was being passed on from like seniors, and it was so heavily used and like so almost like dirty. But like, how did you even become interested in business? Like did you have a family business, or did you have did you get inspiration from your friends or colleagues or?
Yeah, no, actually, like none of my family has ever had like a proper business. They always been employees in healthcare. Like my dad is a doctor, my mom's a nurse, my sister, she's a doctor, but none of them have ever had a business. And I guess this entrepreneurship mindset started because I saw other people in my career struggling just by being employees, especially when you are starting and you are a junior in your position. Like you don't get paid really well.
During COVID time, I remember you starting a molecular diagnostics lab business, and this was right after your master's degree. Do you want to explain how did you set up the business, and how did you even think about it?
I was just scrolling on Instagram, and I saw a post from a former classmate, and we just started talking about how in Los Cabos they didn't have the test to diagnose COVID-19 at that time. And I thought myself, like, how is that possible? Like here in the US, like this is available to everyone. Like the government is pushing so hard for everyone to get tested. And in Mexico, we don't have that test that is so important to keep people safe. And then I started researching how was the test being performed. And it turned out it was like a simple qPCR. And I say simple, but honestly, I don't feel it's that simple for people that doesn't know molecular biology. For me, it was like something simple because I was like so into molecular biology, running qPCR, ddPCR, like on my day-to-day. And I started talking to her about how we can build a lab to diagnose people fast and maybe a fraction of the cost that other labs were like selling the diagnostic test. So I started just researching. I remember I was reading like a mad person papers about how COVID-19 was diagnosed, what was the virus, how I was made, and I just told her like, hey, I think I can build the whole infrastructure, the whole assay. You can help me to get all the personnel, and I can train them, and then I can just ship everything to Los Cabos, go there for 1 or 2 weeks, train everyone, and then we can just get started. And that's how that project started. I had like, I don't know, about 2 months up from work, trying to decide everything, like which qPCR we were gonna get, primer, probes, master mix, every single thing, like things that we don't even think, because they're already there in the lab, right? Like vortexes, pipette, tips. But when you are starting, like absolutely every single thing, you have to think, how are you gonna resource everything? And well, at that time, qPCRs were really expensive, just because there was so much demand for it. Like everyone in the US wanted to start COVID diagnose, and the same thing was starting to happen in Mexico. So all the machines were like super expensive, reagents were limited, tips were limited. So you have to figure out how you are gonna, in a moment of crisis like COVID was, you have to figure out how you are going to resource everything and just keep the operation going. Because for the initial when you are just starting, like you get everything right, you set up everything, but then you have to keep going. So you need to find good suppliers and people and companies that can keep that supply demand coming into the lab, so you can just keep testing. And yeah, I remember it was super exciting when, well, first you have also to figure out all the funding, where's all the money gonna come from, right?
How much was the investment, like ballpark?
So I think we put like 100K. I took a personal loan at that time. I took advantage of my credit and everything. Took a personal loan of I think like 70K. And with that money, I bought the qPCR, all the tips, reagents, pipettes, lab coats, and also start hiring people to start running things, right? Because I was not able to be there full time. I also had to come back to the US. And I remember when we received the qPCR, it was so exciting. Like, and so we received the qPCR machine. I remember opening. It was a 4th of July, and I remember opening the machine. And at that time, I already had some of the positive controls, which were like G blocks. And just there in my garage, I opened everything, prepared the master mix, put it in an IC plate, put it in the machine, run it, and making sure it was actually working.
And this was in the garage?
It was just in my garage. I plugged in the qPCR into my garage, run it, well, and then I just came out to watch all the fireworks, because it was a 4th of July. While the machine was like doing all the thermocycling and everything, came back to check the results, and I saw like the nice the curves, the CQ curves for the qPCR, and that's how that started. It was so exciting. Then, well, we had to figure out how to export things, right? Because we had a qPCR machine that we bought in the US, and then we had to export that to Mexico and then ship it to Los Cabos. So we had to navigate that part. That's also like another expense that sometimes you don't consider, how you're gonna export everything to another country. Got to Los Cabos with everything, and well, we just started setting up the lab.
But like, what was the plan? Like, let's say if someone comes in and, drops a sample to test, right? So how quick were you able to like give them results back?
I actually had, so I was like reading a lot about COVID and how the test is being made, and how other companies were trying to have a faster turnaround of results. So I came out with a paper from a researcher in, I think it was Germany, I don't recall, but it was a country in Europe. And I just sent him an email. Hey, I'm trying to build a diagnostic lab in Mexico, like they don't have the test, and whoever has the test is like super expensive, and the turnaround time is more than 24 hours. And I saw in your paper that you can skip all the nucleic acid purification, like all the columns that we use to purify DNA and everything. How is that made? Like, could you share that with me? And like, he was super nice. Like, he connected with me, he sent me a Zoom link, we connect, and he went with me through all the steps, how they were able to speed up the turnaround time. Wow. By skipping some of the nucleic acid purification step.
And this was a company that you reached out to?
There was a research lab.
Oh, wow.
In Europe.
And they responded you back and they really helped you.
They really helped me. Yeah, they were like super helpful to answer all my questions. After we had that initial meeting, I had some follow-up questions, and through email that they helped me to answer those questions as well. And yeah, I that's how we set up the lab. The whole process is a whole journey. Since the patient get into the lab, how you register the patient, how you take the sample, then how you process that sample to make sure it doesn't get confused with the sample of another patient. Like, you have to implement a lot of controls. And I feel like that's when you need to partner with people that has other skills or experience that you don't have, so you avoid a lot of like very costly mistakes. Even things like how to receive payment, right? Like, how is the patient gonna slide their debit or credit card? Is a whole protocol that needs to be in place. So that's how we start partnering. And then, well, as I say, like I did a lot of like upfront work before bringing everything to Los Cabos. I was thinking about like honestly helping people, but I also knew I knew that COVID was gonna end at some point, right? So my long-term vision wasn't really just making money out of this pandemic thing.
Yeah, because that was going to be my next question actually. Because like COVID would end, so like what would you do after that? Yeah, what was your plan?
I saw COVID like a way to fund like something bigger. Like, we could like maybe start like a CMO or CRO, some sort of thing. And so that was a long-term vision, like try to capitalize now with this and then just expand to bigger things. Just build the molecular diagnostic branch into more diseases. Like, you have HIV, hepatitis, HPV, a lot of different diseases that get diagnosed through molecular technologies. So that was the long-term vision. Unfortunately, in Los Cabos, we had this issue where our business partner at that time, after we have set up everything, we had already run like a couple of hundred tests, and everything was like going really well, like smooth. Like, people was starting to know the lab for being a COVID lab, and we were getting a lot of clients. Like, she started aggressively pushing for more of the deal. Like, initially we say, okay, for the molecular thing, we will go 50-50. We will do all this upfront work. We will train all the people. We will take a loan to fund like buying everything. I'll ship everything to your lab and just start. But after everything was done and we were like actually working and giving some results to people, like, she started pushing for changing the percentage, like she wanted 70% and for us just to keep the 30%. Yeah, it's fine, but also like the way that she managed things and how aggressive she was, I didn't feel comfortable with that. So we decided to split up. After probably like 2 or 3 months working together, like we just decided like this was just not working, and we took everything back. I flew to Los Cabos, took my machine, some of the reagents that it was still there in Los Cabos.
How much money did you guys make even? Like,
Well, like she had very good relations, and I don't know, like every deal, like we were working with like people that was coming into the lab, but honestly, like our biggest workload was coming from companies that they needed to keep their operations going, so they needed their personnel to be tested. So I don't know, every deal, like it was like hundreds of people for each of the companies. So every deal was like around 60 to 70K, and she had a couple of deals like that.
wow.
So
And this is 70K USD?
USD, yeah, USD.
Wow. That's a pretty good number, dude.
That was a good number.
But obviously, like that was the revenue, and then you had
Yeah, you have all the expenses.
The reagents are so expensive, and then fees that you pay to the technicians and all of that. So yeah.
And yeah, things start getting like really bad between us, and it was mainly the way that she communicated with me. I just felt like it wasn't going anywhere. And as I say, like at that time, I wasn't really thinking about just making money for the sake of making money. I was actually very passionate about helping people to get diagnosed faster, and I'll say cheaper than the other labs who were selling the same test. But also I was thinking like long term. I saw this as an opportunity to build something of my own. Uh, and I initially thought like she was gonna be that long-term business partner. But the way that things started changing, it was just not what I was expecting.
And even though PCR sounds like a very simple straightforward technique, but then all the things that goes behind in like setting up a business around a PCR, a basic PCR, that's a lot of work. And more people should consider like starting a business in biotech, and try to like apply the skills that they actually learn, because otherwise like the techniques just become techniques, they just become like a part of a resume. Like, so what do you think were your biggest learnings from it?
First, partner with someone that have those skills that you don't have, or at least the experience behind other parts of the business. And for the technique, actually, something that I learned is like just to think about all the possible scenarios that could go wrong. Like, what could a technician that is just learning this could do wrong that will just change the result, especially in diagnostics, because based on that it depends a lot of things, right? Like, based on that diagnostic, that COVID test, if we say it's positive, that person will probably have to go home and stay there isolated from everyone else. So there is a lot of things involved in just saying it's positive or negative. And you have to think backwards, like, I'm teaching this to a person that has had some sort of experience with molecular biology, but is not an expert on this. What could this person do wrong to change completely the outcome of that result? And even worse, like, you are running like 30 patients in 196 well plate. So all the results could go wrong if that person does something wrong.
Oh yeah.
So it kind of taught me like how to think about all the possible scenarios. Like, I would rehearse on my mind over and over all the steps and think like, okay, if I do this wrong, if I don't vortex this correctly, would that change the result? How can I avoid this person from putting the pipette tip into the positive control when it should be into the no template control, right? Or how do I make sure that this person doesn't take the wrong patient sample or mix them together? All those things, like, absolutely everything can go wrong, and that will fall on me, right? Like, because I'm leading all this effort.
You are the expert.
I'm the expert. And yeah.
I did not even think of that, dude. So like, let's say if you mess up a plate that has like samples from 30 patients, how are you gonna tell them that, oh, sorry guys?
Right, like, and you have the pressure, like the business part, that you promise results in 12 hours, and they're paying you for that. So you have to deliver no matter what. But also, like, you have to make sure you are delivering the right things. Like, you don't want to just give a random result so you can accomplish that promise of 12 hours turnaround time. And of course, it happened times where things went wrong and we had to repeat it, and we couldn't deliver or hold that promise of 12 hours turnaround time. And you learn, like, you have to talk to them, you have to explain them, hey, we have some technical difficulties. It's going to take a little bit longer, but rest assured that the result that we're giving you is 100% accurate, and this is what we are seeing. So you have to counterbalance all those things at the same time. So yeah, I feel like that's when also your values come in, right? Like I wouldn't feel comfortable just giving a result for the sake of keeping that promise when I'm not 100% sure that is actually the diagnosis of that person. Um, but yeah. Anyways, like after Los Cabos, we flew back with everything, and I was thinking just to sell everything apart. Like the qPCR, selling it somewhere. Um,
Didn't you think you should have made a contract before starting, a partnership in business with someone and like laid out all the rules crystal clear that this is gonna be the split?
oh, that was one of the most painful learnings I've ever had. Of course, yeah. Yeah, like having all the legal stuff in place before you move a single finger, that's key. Um, at that time, I was just so excited about starting this. Like, do you think, like, and when you're starting a business venture, like, you see your partners like your brothers or your sisters, like, you talk to them almost every day, all the time to keep like things moving forward that you never expect things will change in the future. Everything is like so just amazing, like you met this person that had all these skills that you need, and you are just matched together like perfectly to start this business venture. And so I didn't. I mean, we were working on all the legal stuff, but I ship everything, train everyone. We start running the business, and I left all the legal things as a secondary things. Yeah, definitely. At least have like a draft that is already signed by both parties, and then you can start like involving like lawyers and making it more official. But something that set the rules since the beginning. And also something that I learned, it's how everything will split in the case that things doesn't work at the end, right? How things will work. Well, you both are in that business venture, but if things doesn't go as expected, how are we going to split up? Who is taking who, and who is paying for what, or all those things are also important to lay out and when you are starting a business venture. But yeah, it was a painful learning experience.
Oh man, you almost became a millionaire. So after you finish your position in UCSD in an academia lab, you transition to industry, right? And how was that transition? Like, what difference did you feel, like when you were working in academia versus when you switched to industry? Was there like any obvious difference that you can think of?
Yes. So when I moved to industry, I think one of the things that shocked me the most is how structured everything it is in industry. Like you have all these departments that have that really focus on something of that business. Whereas in academia, where I experienced is like you wear multiple hats and you do almost like a lot of things at the same time. Yeah, you have so many projects going on at the same time. And it could be like sometimes these projects are not related to each other. So you are just running around through different things. On industry, my experience was that, when I first joined industry, I joined the assay development team. So what I saw is like, we had this group of like, I don't know, I think we were like 20 people just focusing on developing assays that were robust enough to pass all the FDA criteria and being able to use commercially for drug products. And what I saw is like we had like so many assays, but every single member of the team was focusing on only one assay at a time. My experience was like, at least for me, I was just working on one single assay. At that time, I was working as well with molecular biology and just developing a assay for ddPCR. And that was my only focus at that time, just developing that assay, making sure it was robust enough. And that's where I feel like my experience also from that business venture came in handy, because when you are developing this asset, you also have to think how to make it so much easy, because you will transfer these assays to the quality control department, right? And you are the expert, so you have to think how to make the assay easy for the other person that will be running the assay from time to time, and all the possible scenarios that could go wrong, and how you can make that assay strong enough that doesn't break when you pass it into the other departments. So I would say, yeah, those are the main things, like how focused things are, and at least in asset development, how you need to think about all the possible scenarios that could go wrong.
So did you like feel extra pressure when you worked in industry that, oh, I cannot mess up, like there are things that I cannot just replicate, I have to be really careful when I'm running experiments. Did you feel that?
At least in asset development, when you are developing, there is not that much pressure, because the whole purpose is to try different things, optimize, making it better every time. But once that you say, okay, this is ready for commercial, that's when the pressure comes in, because then you are locked. Like the way that you say the assay is going to perform, it has to perform that way every single time. And then is when maybe some doubt can come in, like, did I test all the possible scenarios? Is this gonna break down once I transfer to QC? I feel like that's when the pressure come in. But in general, I feel like work-life balance, at least at one of my first industry job, was really good. My team was really supportive, and they were like super smart. Like because you will present as you are making progress, you are presenting your data, and you are communicating all your decisions to all the department, and they help you to make a better assay. Like they give you a lot of feedback, and if you find any roadblocks, like there might be someone in the team that have already experienced something similar, and they can help you just to keep moving forward.
A lot of people talk about toxicity in academic labs, right? Because you're like, the resources are limited. You always have the pressure of publications. So the lab just like naturally becomes toxic, because like you have to work more, you have to put in extra hours. But what about industry? Like, have you had any toxic experience, or do you know of any experience that your colleagues or friends have had in industry?
Yeah. I've seen situations where things get really heated. I also think like sometimes it's just the nature of the work. I try not to take it like personal, because I don't feel like when things get this like hit, it becomes personal. But yeah, I've seen like people in some meetings like yelling at someone, someone yell at another person, or someone can like bang in the table or something like that. They are just like too intense. But I feel like it's also the nature, like when you go into fast pace, like things go wrong, you have to pivot really quickly and then just move forward, and like people get mad. Like in the lab, things go wrong all the time, and sometimes you don't get to deliver the results that you wanted. But it's a learning experience, right? You learn something and you do better next time. But yeah, I've seen it like maybe not like a toxic environment, but just meetings where like just people get mad and yell at each other. Of course, that set the tone in the department, and of course, people sometimes doesn't feel that freely to talk, or feel more shy to express ideas, and I think that's not good for the department. But I've seen things pass, and you just keep moving forward. Don't take it personal.
Got it, got it. So, and you've experienced a layoff in the past, right?
I did.
Was like, how hard was it?
It was it was shocking. Like you never expect to be laid off.
And was it sudden? Like, did you get any notice before getting laid off?
No, we didn't. I remember it was right after the Christmas break,
Perfect.
but it was just the second day of work, and we all came from the Christmas break, second day of work, and suddenly we got an email from the CEO saying that we needed to go to the conference room. And at that time we started seeing layoffs in other part of the countries, like Boston. Layoffs start happening. Layoffs start happening, and we got that email, and we all came into the conference room like super nervous and like, oh my gosh, is it gonna happen or what's going on?
But did you anticipate it was going to be a layoff meeting, or you just thought like maybe it's just something that they want to
I think it
discuss?
was in the back of everyone's minds, like
I think it's always there.
something bad, like an urgent meeting after holiday break. Like, what for? They're not going to congratulate us for anything right now. At that time, my wife and I, we were working at the same company, and we both got laid off. So,
Of course.
uh, of course, you feel like nervous, like you don't know what's gonna happen in the future. You're gonna land another opportunity soon enough before the severance run out. All those things.
How much was the severance?
For us, it was 3 months. 3 months of severance,
That's good.
and they still gave us the annual bonuses.
Okay.
So that gave us at least one more month of stretch, to find something. And at the time, that company was one of the first ones to have layoffs, and it wasn't that hard at that time to find a new position. I think I landed my second one like 2 months after, and Christine landed her position like 2 months and a half after. After that, things went wild.
Yeah.
It was so hard to find anything. I had friends like were looking for 2 years and they just couldn't find anything.
Yeah, I think it was 2022. That's when like things were really like there was so many jobs in the market, and whoever entered during that time, they are still like in the same position. Like they didn't even like think of changing jobs, because after that, like things just went crazy, man. Like,
Yeah, and I feel like it was because of the COVID bubble. And that happened to me as well when I was running the molecular lab. We had these COVID peaks where you would hire a bunch of people because the business needed all that. But as soon as the wave came down, like you will had all these people and then not enough samples to run. Like suddenly you will have like 3 or 4 analysts, and you will have just like I don't know, like 30 or 20 samples coming in that just one analyst was able to run by himself. So then what do you do with all the other people? And it's just resources. Like you have to let go people. There is no other way around. Like you try to maintain all the positions. You try to bring more business to the business, but if it's not happening, you have to make hard decisions to keep things moving. And yeah, that was also my experience, and I feel like the same happened in biotech. Suddenly I saw like this so much investment was coming into all the biotechs, and they were just hiring so many people, bringing people from all part of the world. They were like, I saw they getting like relocation packages, signing bonuses, almost double what they were asking for initially. Of course, people will move from the other part of the country for all these compensation packages. The issue is that when the bubble just implode, then funding was scarce. Like companies didn't have enough funding, and then they just had this all overhead like they couldn't maintain, and they had to let go people. There is no other way around if they want the business to keep going.
but do you think the market is getting better now?
I I think it's getting better, definitely. Yeah, for sure. I'm seeing more biotech startup coming up again. But I feel like also most of the investment is going to AI, you know? So I don't know if the market is getting better or things are just getting stabilized. Because now the startups that fail, they are gone. The ones that survive all that, now they're more stable. They have a stronger pipeline, and that's and they are starting to hire slowly. They are going back to hiring people, but I feel they are more conscious about it. One of my first industry jobs, I remember I was employee 300, and after 8 months, we were 1,000 people. Like in 8 months, they hired 700 people.
Wow.
Um, I don't see that happening again. I feel like now they're very cautious about how much people they are bringing in.
Okay, so for final thought, what advice would you give to someone who is just about to enter a master's program and is still undecided whether they should opt for a thesis program or something with a business or entrepreneurship angle to it? If they are undecided, how should they think about selecting a master's program?
So, what I think is having a clear goal in mind. What do you want to get out of the master? Uh, if you are in like a dual master, as I was, like science based, or having the opportunity to start like something on the business side, having a clear goal of what you want, it's super important. And I mean, if you like to research things and just know things for the sake of knowing more about science and going deeper, that's fair. And I think like traditional master programs will give you that insight, and also will sharpen your research mindset. But if you are also wanting to start something like a business, I feel like you have to think what learning experiences I'm gonna get out of this master that will help me to build that entrepreneurship mindset that I want to also develop at the same time. And sometimes, honestly, you become an expert on something, but at the end of the day, what I realize is that in business, everything is about relationships, networking. Like if you're applying to a master programs because you want to start a business in the future, also think like what kind of networking this university or this master is going to provide me that will help me leverage all those connections in the future to do what I want to do. And it's also fair just to join for the sake of exploring, because sometimes you don't know what you want to do. You don't know if you want to go to the academia path or the business path. But definitely clarity before you join, to me, is the best option. And if you want to like have more of that entrepreneurship experience, I feel like you also don't need to start a business to have that experience. Like you can be an entrepreneur in your current job. Like you can propose new things, new technologies, new assays, new ways to do things. And what I saw is that sometimes people, when they're in a job, they propose new things and they get rejected and they never try again. Honestly, that's how real life it is when you're starting a job, a business. Like you will be rejected so many times. Things will go wrong all the time. And unless you really trust your idea, you really want to pursue that idea, you will just keep trying and finding different angles to communicate that idea or ways to make that idea better. And that can be applied into your current job. Like just be the entrepreneur inside your job and try to pitch new ideas to leadership. That will also give you a lot of exposure to other departments, to other people. People will start to know about you and that you have all these other ideas. And slowly they will come to you when they're trying to assess something similar or they're trying to implement something different. At least that was my take, and that's something I have been implementing in my current job as well. Like I try to push for more automation and try to digitalize the bench work. And that's how I saw how we were struggling doing things manually that could be easily automated, but no one took the time to research like which liquid handlers are out there, or how can we automate this part of the process, because you are just like in your day-to-day work, like you have goals, you have to finish those things, and that's it. And to me, because I have that entrepreneurship mindset, that was like drowning me. Like I wasn't feeling like I was improving in my career, just doing over and over the same thing. And that's when I started like pitching to my leadership, hey, why don't we implement this? Why don't we do this? And I'll say like I got rejected many times until I was able to communicate and show them the value of implementing some things inside my current position. So I guess like my take is like you can be an entrepreneur in your job and not needing to have a business. And I feel like that's a more fun way to go to your job, knowing that you are building something that you propose. At some point you feel like a director or a leader because you're just driving these initiatives inside your position.
That's a great point. Great perspective, really. Like I haven't thought about it that way. Wonderful, man. Thank you for coming. It was so much fun. Yeah. And I will tag your LinkedIn as I post this podcast.